Hello, my name is Gerry Nash. I'm a senior at Laney High School, currently working on my graduation product. My topic is plastic waste, particularly in the oceans. Thank you for coming. We're going to learn about plastic. It's going to be fun. Alright, I'm going to pass out paper. I'd like to each of y'all could write down examples of all the plastic you use in your lives.
Actually, where you got in there?
Water bottles, you can throw it away. Recycle. What's that?
Yeah,
isn't that waste plastic? It's all the plastic you use in your life. You know, is that three? What's that? Yeah, no, it's easy to write down stuff. It's easy. Just make sure you get a good all the things you can think of. Doesn't matter if there was art.
Name? Name or no? Yes or no? What are we doing, Jerry?
Write down all the
that is your name, right?
all the plastic you use in your lives. Every bit of plastic.
Background. Every bit of plastic.
Yep. I'm gonna go a little while to do that.
Narrow down. Mr. Nash.
Yes, sir.
How narrowed down is our plastic?
Anything as specific and as broad as you want it to be. Just write as many things as you can.
I just evaded his question.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of skittish.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I don't think I use plastic ever.
We'll write that down.
I don't really know. So what is plastic?
Plastic is a petrochemical produced from fossil fuels used in many of today's products.
Is this thin plastic?
Pardon?
Is this thin plastic?
It most likely has plastic components to it. So,
Wow.
Pencils always getting weird.
have y'all been helping with things? So you're doing good. You're doing good.
Mine?
In the grocery store, at school, in the lunch bag,
Oh,
clothing
plastic
articles.
container.
You can think something like the steering wheel on your car. Doesn't matter what it is. What's that? It's kind of weak. I think you can do more than that. You're a pretty wasteful kid.
Tupperware.
Bags.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was just talking Tupperware. I don't know. I just Bags? Bags, alright. Hey, Gary, I'm using that paper. I already put it front and back. Yeah,
That's a lot.
You take a bottle, you do something weird, you get bags. Ooh.
Oh no. Jerry, you should have seen Jerry in my video. Like, he was just doing
That's absurd.
some interesting stuff.
Those accusations.
Okay.
Notice.
How are y'all doing? Keep writing.
Oh.
I know y'all got more than that.
The
possibilities are endless, sir.
Oh, Eric, you're doing good. I think you're winning so far.
Not really, I'm kind of catching up.
Look around the classroom. See what plastic you might use in this classroom.
Yeah.
Smell for camera.
I don't know. I haven't seen any plastic.
You doing good? You're not looking at it,
I'll
obviously.
put glasses.
Kill you doing well. Doing quite well.
My glasses frame made out of plastic.
Sunglasses.
My glasses frame.
Those
Good.
plastic.
Very good.
What?
My 3D glasses.
That's good.
Mine are
Mine
plastic. Oh, really, dude?
So mine.
Shoot. My glasses are actually my chairs. Oh, wait, what?
Please, good up for this.
Oh, I have a plastic.
Shoelace, the little things right here.
Y'all see the things?
What
Y'all see what
is it called? What is it? Aglet? What's an aglet?
The little thing you
Can you spell that out loud?
Ooh, very good, very good.
Let's see, what's the just look at yourself.
I mean, this is
That's a medium one as bad as it is.
I mean,
Look around the classroom. See how much plastic in the classroom. Think about your car. How much plastic's in your car? That counts as well.
In my car, it's just metal and glass and freedom.
Oh, we're talking standard.
We gotta.
Wow.
See you got another. Hello, Samuel Messer. Come on in.
I'd like to work.
Dude, that's mess.
Write down everything plastic you use.
Okay. Have y'all got about everything you write, you think? Are y'all done writing? Lazy.
Yeah, I got a song, dude.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'm running out of it.
Well, can y'all tell me these things. Start with Jose. Want to list off some things?
I said plastic, baggies, like Ziploc baggies.
Okay.
Grocery
I got
baggies.
you. Write it down.
Need some help writing down?
Nope.
Oh, good job. I said Tupperware.
So 2 P's in Tupperware?
I think it's one.
We're going to.
Oh, you saying it? I say it like I'm telling something. Tupperware. Tupperware.
Specific there.
That just makes me
The
Okay.
wrote said phone cases.
Phone case. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Toothbrush.
Toothbrush.
Yeah, you're.
Good idea.
Oh, I did not know that.
Hairbrush.
What's that?
Hairbrush.
Hairbrush.
Yeah, you know, the handle. Car bumpers.
What about the comb?
The actual cup, you know? Yeah. Car bumpers. Phone case, nice.
That's nice.
We're gonna keep on adding.
Binders.
Oh, you got your,
Binders. That was a good idea. Good input.
You got your.
GoPro cases.
Okay. Photography equipment.
I said specifically for you glasses.
Watches. I mean, just looking around.
That tablets like on your chest.
Yeah, we already put that, dude.
Yeah, man.
Late.
That's what we need to do. We talk about new energy orders.
What about tape?
Eric, do you have any?
What about? Yeah.
Sunglasses.
Sunglasses.
Buttons on your shirt. Oh, nice.
I agree.
Righteous.
Why don't you say what you actually make for yourself? Eric, please. What about Plastic Factory?
How about,
Yeah, we'll have some plastic in there. How about that lamination stuff?
Lamination. Very good, John.
Yeah, I guess that did it.
Mechanical pencils.
You know the things that wrap around drinks, like soft drinks? Just like the, I guess,
Wrappers.
not
Like
the
they
holders,
hold the
six of
label.
the sodas
Oh,
together.
no.
They wrap around birds' necks.
But you meant like one
Straws.
more.
Oh,
Straws.
6-stack string or something.
Grocery bag. Oh my gosh,
Straws.
straws are dying every day because of those things, man.
You talked about the 6-stack.
Oh, I know.
Straws. Straws.
Classroom posters and cat wrap.
Straws.
Straws. Very good. We'll go very detailed on straws.
Yeah.
Rubbish bins.
What was that you said?
Bottles.
Bottles. Very good. Nationalities will
You
give
ever
us
made a
a
twin
Tires.
a straw out of a Twizzler before?
Clock.
What?
You
Yeah.
bite
There's
off.
holes in them.
You just have holes in them so you bite like little ends off.
Look
the
how
plastic in the bottom.
Yeah.
You use it as a straw.
Rubbish bins.
Anyone else?
Recycle bin.
What about Crocs?
Crocs.
The
Crocs
flop.
dying, boys.
Trash cans.
Recycling bin?
Surfboard leashes.
That's
Steal my
how
idea.
Rubbish bins.
The rubbish bins, quote unquote, you know.
Plastic surgery.
Surfboard leashes, you said?
Surfboard leashes, no doubt,
Very
bro.
good.
Here, how about plastic surgery?
Tires.
Oh.
Nice try.
Milk bottles.
Tires on plastic.
Tires?
Rubber.
Rubber?
Oh,
Taking
yeah,
Carson?
you're right.
Gosh, we tired of that, don't you?
But you milk things.
Anyone else?
Milk.
Fake glass.
Pardon?
Fake glass.
Fake glass. I don't know what it means. I'll like right
Look at milk. Milk container.
I mean,
And milk.
Bottle.
Milk.
Ooh, the lid on top of, restaurant to go cups.
there's trash cans.
Trash cans.
The rubbish bin.
Rubbish bin.
You don't really pay attention.
Hair. No, hair's not plastic.
That's
Fake hair.
Fake wigs.
Lord.
Wigs.
Propaganda posters. Wigs, I thought wigs were, during wartime.
Not if you buy the cheaper.
Like during the wartime.
Barbies.
Nice.
Legos.
Legos. Legos. That's
Oh,
all.
I could totally go for sure doing a
Huh?
Lego set right now.
Hey, I'm gonna go more specific. I'm gonna dive in.
Next. Nice.
What'd you say?
Next.
What was that?
Reusable
Did you say
bottle.
net?
Reusable water bottles. Very good.
Document cans.
Document cans. That's it's kind of a stretch. I think we should go with that one.
Good take.
Fake jewelry. I don't know about that. I don't like jewelry.
There we go. That's Pleather.
Ben, what you got, Ben? What you got for me? What you got? My Bill, my bad, Bill. What you got?
Nothing. I'm thinking yet.
You think it's okay? How about fake IDs?
And real IDs. Fake leather.
Mostly fake IDs.
IDs.
Probably window presentation.
Thank you, Robert, for coming.
Oh, Gatorade bottles?
Use it until I got the leaf.
Leather. Leather. Fake leather, dude.
Leather.
That's
Well, this been a plastic?
Yeah. Leather. That's what it's called. Leather. Plastic leather.
Oh, like a river.
How about litter? Litter?
Litter,
Yeah.
please specify.
You know when you see litter in like rivers, on the side of roads? It's always plastic. That's an hasty generality.
That's a bit of a reach.
fallacy.
How about that thing?
Shades, that's
Okay.
Lines?
lines, that's
Okay, Jerry, that thing. Jerry, this is 5 on.
All right. Byron, very good. Much better than I thought it would time-wise. We're doing great. All right, well, let's go on to my PowerPoint. PowerPoint.
no, I don't believe that.
Probably waste those things.
Oh, I don't know if we can see properly.
Thanks for that right now. All right. Now I'd like you all to think of non-plastic alternatives to items such as Ziploc bags. What could you use instead of a Ziploc bag?
Paper
Paper
bag. Paper bag.
bag, very good. We can eliminate that waste
A
now.
grocery bag? No, wait.
What about Tupperware? What
Glass,
glass?
this glass.
No, but that's good. If it's reusable. It's reusable. Yeah, it's
Plastic
reusable.
bag. Very good.
Argument invalid.
What did you say?
Use glass things for example. What about soda cans?
Donated. Yeah,
There's
donated.
wooden ones.
That's dangerous. Wooden, that's a
Glass, carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber. Very good, Joseph. That was the most reasonable thing said all
I'm
time.
pretty sure there's like
What
rubber.
about a toothbrush? What did you
Electronic
How
toothbrush.
much do you know about
Your fingers,
Get the dentist more often.
They have wooden toothbrushes, but I'm sure they sell wooden toothbrush.
Dick hairs.
You could, yeah.
That's what the old ones are made out of.
What about a binder? How do you avoid plastic
Don't
binder?
do that. Metal
Break
paper
school.
clips. Just
Very good.
Recycled
That's
paper.
just a stapler.
Recycled
Yeah,
paper.
just one staple. Yeah.
That's what's on it.
I'm sorry.
Folders.
This one
Folders.
where we all kind of share some sort of civility. Can y'all please talk one at a time?
Folders.
Folders. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, right.
What if you got
Plastic folders.
Photography equipment.
All metal.
Metal.
Metal folders.
Very good. Very
It'll
good.
be heavy, but it'll be wonderful.
Very good.
Just say metal.
Sunglasses. How can we avoid plastic in
Get me on
sunglasses?
one sunglasses. It's right now.
Wooden
glass.
Wooden.
Now that's an idea right there. Sustainable. I like it.
Make them out of like ivory.
I agree. That's kind of like
Illegal, master.
shirt buttons. Shirt buttons.
Just have a regular shirt.
Wooden.
T-shirt. Zipper.
Ivory. Ivory.
Metal.
Classy and
Diamond.
Metal. Zippers.
Diamond.
What about to avoid lamination of papers? How can we
Just be careful with your stuff.
paper?
Don't need to laminate it, be careful.
Of course, some instances of plastic not be avoided.
Like what?
Occasionally, like lamination, if you have to have it laminated.
No,
Wrappers. How can we avoid wrappers?
There's a
bag.
That makes sense. Very good.
Aluminum foil.
Aluminum foil. That's what I'm talking about. Good job, Jose.
If you get Laffy Taffy, it melts, and then the aluminum foil gets it, you eat it, then you have cancer.
But plastic is far more toxic than aluminum foil.
Yes, aluminum foil.
What about a 6-pack holder? How can you avoid that?
Carrying them all.
Cardboard.
Yeah,
Buy the big
Very
ones.
good, Eric. You're thinking good, man. Thinking sharp.
40. Let's get the 6-pack.
What about toys? How do you avoid plastic toys?
Get nice and
Go
cold.
We go outside and enjoy real life. I like it. What about a wig? How can you avoid plastic?
Grow real hair, or just accept the baldness.
Yeah, it's
What's horsehair?
Horsehair.
People hair.
I know there's
Rogaine.
lots of love places. They have
Rogaine.
great alternatives to
That's what
plastic
I'm
wigs.
signing up there.
What about a trash can? How do you avoid a plastic trash can?
Oh, landfill.
Metal trash can.
A metal trash can. That's a very good idea. Thank you.
Actually, that's a lot better.
Or if we get rid of all this plastic, we should not even need.
Fake glass. That's
Real glass.
Containers. They kind of cover this with Tupperware. And,
Yeah.
surfboard leashes.
No leashes.
Yeah.
No leashes.
No leashes. Lit it up. Recycling bin.
Metal.
It's rocks.
Get rid of them. Get rid of them entirely.
It's right down there.
Claws.
Same thing.
I think
Claws.
Alex can have a
Our
great
claws
claws
are
in the wood. Yeah, wood.
But they're supposed to be wood.
Straws? Straws?
Just drink it.
Yeah, straw free.
Real men don't use straws.
Very good, very good. I like the way y'all drink it. Y'all thinking good. All
Alright.
Oh, I didn't see those. Thank you very much, Carson. Leather?
Real leather.
That's an easy one.
Or real plastic.
Real life, be a man.
There's not much you can do to
Electronic? Oh, nice.
Oh, very good. It's digital age. I like it. I like fake jewelry.
Real good.
Fake jewelry out of glass,
Legos are permanent. You can't do anything about Legos. You see wooden Legos. Like
There's
Legos.
probably some glass. There's probably some metal
There's
ones.
such thing as wooden Legos.
Not yet.
Not
Entrepreneurship
yet.
right there.
I don't know if
It's
you
time to
I don't know. Stepping on Legos.
Yeah, I think that's
a
what
lot.
we're
see. All right. We are just think. She got on us. Will I come back up?
William Pridgeon, please come to the main office. William Pridgeon, please come to the main office at this
This thing
time.
was just referring right there. Will it pop back on?
Oh, I'm sorry, what happened?
Well, it was sitting there with this thing over, just so I couldn't see it. But
Yeah.
You broke it, dude.
will it right here?
I broke it, there's a red flashing light right now, so I don't know what that means. It means trouble.
I knew it.
In the meantime, Jerry.
Trouble.
Right on my tongue.
There we go.
We can just play it through and we can just cut it.
Cut it out.
Just keep it in there if you need it.
Oh, I did.
Now you killed it, Jerry.
Good.
Like it's plastic.
Plastic sucks.
Freaking.
This is unsuspected. I'm sorry, I think it's open. You're a child, Marsh Popper.
I can do it again.
So, Jerry, what do you tell us about straws?
What type of straws? Once it comes up in my presentation.
So what inspired you to put this? Let's try again.
What's happening?
Cassie gave Sam Mester's money to this mess. He gave
Let's
the
stop that
message.
camera. And
This mess kept the money. Dude.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Wonderful input.
Should we turn the lights off?
I got a timer on this thing.
How long will this take?
Well,
Here, take the
30 more minutes. Pardon?
Take the 30 and cover up the.
For you guys? Or from the camera?
We hit the lights.
Well, the camera will have a light.
I want to get closer for
Both
this.
lights or just one? Yeah, I'll take both lights. Mr. Moody, you need a light on?
No, you're fine, son, you do what you do.
Thanks, Dad. Approximately 10% of all the waste produced is plastic. Every minute, over 1 million plastic bags are used throughout the world, approximately 500 billion every year. On average, each plastic bag is only used for 15 minutes. And 65% of all plastic waste ends up in landfills. Only 10% of plastic is recycled, even though all types of plastic can be recycled.
Abomination.
Any questions?
Ashley Abraham, please come to the main office. Ashley Abraham, please come
That
to
is
the main
because
office.
certain resin types, which are used to create the plastic, are less desired, and like once they are recycled, and so they can be recycled, but there's not enough demand for them. So recycling facilities do not invest time and money in the processes to recycle them, but they are able to be.
Should they?
Let me ask this, if 10% of the waste is plastic, what comprises, do you know some of the other categories of major contributors of waste?
Metal, This is probably by weight, so a lot of metal and wood and paper, cardboard, tree pulp.
Gotcha. Wood products.
Yeah.
And then the metals. Alright. Okay.
This is a plastic bag commonly used by people here in Earth. As you can see, it's small, easy to use, and very easy to produce, but
Doesn't it have Satan horns?
it does. Good observation. Anyway, there's lots of ways to get around these. You can use reusable bags made out of cloth. Hemp's a good one. Hippies like hemp. Very good product. There's many ways to get around plastic such as this. Vast amounts of plastic waste find their way into the world's oceans. Marine plastic is extremely dangerous to animals and is carried about by currents in the ocean. Many species are affected by plastic in the oceans, some more than others. Species such as seals, sea lions, albatross, and many other seabirds are extremely prone to detrimental involvement with seaborne plastic. As you can see here, this bird of the ocean is filled with plastic.
Is that a lighter?
I believe that was a lighter, yes. We see a bottle cap or two, just plastic rubbish, which this bird consumed thinking it was food and died. His stomach was full of plastic.
Oh, I like that.
And all this plastic is just floating around in the ocean.
Maybe that bird was smoking.
I know, like, what if the bird's gonna light himself a stogie? Not a stogie cigarette.
Right
Not
beside
only
a garbage patch.
a doobies.
Located in the Pacific Ocean lies a giant floating accumulation of plastic. This plastic island contains absurd measurements of plastic waste, proving horrible for the marine organisms it affects. And this shows one big clump of plastic. It is not all this clumped together. Much of it is dispersed and soupy. Yes,
So it's like the won't try to do anything with this plastic, like just like scoop it
we
up.
will address that in good time. But thank you for asking. The garbage patch is caused by gyres, or giant currents that circle through the oceans. So as there are other giant patches of garbage besides the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, but it is the largest. As you see here, these currents cause a giant thing of plastic to accumulate there. But there's also plastic gyres in South Atlantic, Indian Ocean, South Pacific, and North Atlantic. All the oceans are full of plastic. Plastic does not biodegrade, but it does, however, photodegrade. This means that plastic will not break down naturally, except through exposure to sunlight. Most of the plastic in the ocean is broken down into tiny fragments known as microplastics. Microplastics are far more dangerous because they can be ingested by marine organisms and, through biomagnification, build up in animals, causing serious detrimental effects. The term biomagnification is when a level of toxin increases progressively as it moves up a food chain. Any questions? Microplastics make up 90% of all the plastic in the oceans. They trap dangerous toxins like DDT and PCB, which then enter organisms where they are consumed. This shows microplastics in comparison to a penny. They're very small. Some even much smaller than this. And they're easily enter the digestive tracts of many marine organisms. And plastics, however, do have their benefits. Plastic is a petrochemical produced from fossil fuels. It is extremely light, durable, and cheap to produce, lending itself to a vast range of uses. Plastic grocery bags require 1/3 the energy used in the production of paper bags. Also, plastic packaging makes the items far easier and more efficient to transport. For instance, a truck that could carry 2.8 million plastic bags can only carry 500,000 paper bags.
Then why are we arguing against plastic right now?
It's just a comparison, you gotta have both sides of the argument. The lightweight and durable nature of plastic allows for substantial reduction in raw materials used, waste generated, and energy consumed. One study shows that without plastics, the total volume of packaging waste would increase by around 160%. Due to plastic's ability to resist corrosion, many major appliances receive an almost 40% increase in longevity. On average, 650 gallons of gas are saved throughout the life of the car due to the reduced weight of plastic components. Plastics also play an enormous role in the economy. The solution to all this plastic, while all these atrocities of plastic may seem overwhelming, there is hope. The environment is an amazing thing and is capable of incredible feats. If we do our part to help, it can recover. We must address our society's unhealthy reliance on plastic. People must learn to reduce their plastic usage, reuse plastic items, and recycle. Recycle. Very good. You can reduce your plastic usage by using alternatives to plastic and making the decision not to consume unnecessary plastic, like we demonstrated on the board. This can be as simple as bringing reusable bags to the grocery store. Use your own water bottles instead of wasting single-use water bottles, or ask for tinfoil instead of styrofoam when taking home leftovers from a restaurant. Refuse plastic straws at restaurants. Use paper products instead of plastic. Choose items that have less plastic packaging, and buy locally, cutting down on plastic usage required for transit. These bags, reusable bags used by many chain stores, are a very good alternative to plastic bags. This one not so much, but the rest of them are very good. They take the place of hundreds of paper or of plastic grocery bags. Reusing items is crucial as well. If you must reuse plastic grocery bags, there are countless opportunities to reuse them, such as lunch bags, small garbage bags, or even for cushioning items being shipped somewhere. There are also many wonderful craft possibilities with plastic bags. Reuse plastic bottles to organize small things around the house, or use them for crafts ranging from bird feeders to plant potters.
Or grab food with the plastic bag.
Very good. They can be used to handle feces. Recycling is one of the vital components of the solution to plastic. All types of plastic can be recycled, although many are not. This is because there is not a demand for recycled plastic items. We can help this by seeking out items made with recycled plastic and purchase those instead. Recycling can be an extremely economical and environmentally sound action. The energy saved by recycling a single milk jug can power a 100-watt light bulb for 11 hours. Recycled plastic is also extremely usable in things such as artificial lumber, which has an abundance of practical uses. Bioplastics. Bioplastics are plastics produced from natural things, particularly plants. They are relatively new idea and hold a lot of promise. They can be created from plants and work the same as normal plastic, but are carbon-based and biodegrade, returning back into the earth. Hopefully one day, it will economically surpass normal plastics. Very nice. Here we have a video about a young Norwegian boy. He was only 18 years old when he created this idea. He was originally on TED Talks, but we're using this video instead.
Okay.
Same thing.
Human history is basically a list of things that couldn't be done and then were done. About 1.5 years ago, I stood on a similar stage in my hometown of Delft, the Netherlands. There, I presented my idea on how to clean the ocean of plastic. I talked about how, while diving in Greece, I came across more plastic bags than fish. I talked about my high school science project, which I used to study the problem itself and why it's so difficult to clean up. It amazed me that in the middle of the oceans, over 1,000 miles offshore, in a place where perhaps no human has ever been, you can find 6 times more plastic than plankton. It amazed me that over 100,000 mammals and over 1 million seabirds die each year because of that same plastic. It absolutely shocked me that entire species are being threatened by it. But what perhaps astounded me even more was that most people involved in the topic were absolutely certain a cleanup would be impossible, even though nobody had ever seriously investigated. It is of course essential to first close the tap to prevent any more plastic from reaching the oceans in the first place. But that is not a solution to the plastics already trapped in the currents of the giants. If feasible, a cleanup technique could greatly reduce the economic, ecological, and health impacts in those regions. Besides, the natural plastic loss from these concentration areas is likely small, so it hardly goes away by itself. A massive challenge it will be though. The name Great Pacific Garbage Patch suggests there will be an island of trash floating in the middle of the ocean. And this image has spurred many cleanup concepts, all of them being based on vessels with nets that will be fishing for plastic. Unfortunately though, even though the concentration of plastics is extremely high compared to the rest of the ocean, and these 5 subtropical gyres, it's still spread out over millions of square kilometers. And hence, it would likely take many billions of dollars and thousands of years to clean up a gyre using such methods. Besides bycatch and emissions.
Also, there will be a quiz on this afterwards, so make sure you retain the information, because
Would likely cancel out the good work, and furthermore, the oceans aren't a particularly friendly place to do so. However, I realized back in high school there might be an alternative. I wondered why move through the oceans if the oceans can move through you. Instead of going after the plastics, you could simply wait for the plastic to come to you without requiring any added energy. An array of floating barriers will first catch and then concentrate the debris, enabling a platform to efficiently extract the plastic afterwards. The ocean current will pass underneath these barriers, taking all neutrally buoyant sea life with it, preventing bycatch. An elegant idea. But when I got asked to present this idea at a TEDx Delft conference, it wasn't much more than that, an idea. But I reckoned it was an idea worth spreading. So I then started studying aerospace engineering, but I really couldn't stop thinking about it. A bit like one of those boxer shorts with an asymmetrically positioned label in them. It's very annoying. I then turned to some professors and industry experts with whom I compiled a list of 50 questions that should be answered in order to call my idea a feasible solution. But when I attempted to start answering those questions, things didn't really go according to plan. The only budget available at the time was the 200 euros of pocket money I saved up, and there were only a couple of people that offered their help at then. So, realizing the project was going nowhere, I recall when on one day I contacted about 300 companies for sponsorship. Only one replied, and that one too resulted in a dead end. I wasn't prepared to give up though, and decided to pause both university and social life in order to focus all my time on this idea. So I set up a foundation, the Ocean Cleanup. But those 50 question marks remained untouched, which bothered me. But then, something peculiar happened, and it changed my life. The 26th of March, 2013, started out like any other day, but soon my phone wouldn't stop ringing, the Ocean Cleanup social media exploded, and for days I received over 1,500 emails per day in my personal mailbox. The story went viral. So we then started a crowdfunding campaign and reached the $80,000 target in 15 days. And using all the offers to help, we then assembled a team, which eventually grew to about 100 volunteers and professionals. Here you can see part of our team in Delft. Suddenly, I wasn't alone anymore. So we also received a lot of questions that fortunately confirmed the 50 questions we set out to answer were the right ones. So now we have the budget and the people to perform an extensive feasibility study. The 50 questions covered the fields of engineering, oceanography, ecology, maritime law, finance, and recycling. It took us a year, but finally it's here. All 530 pages of it. It can't be done because the collected plastic is too deep. Well, so we built this multi-level troll, organized several expeditions to Ajaya, and measured the vertical distribution of plastic. And what we found was that, depending on the weather, fortunately, most plastics can be found in the top 3 meters. It can't be done because of the storms. So, while using computer simulations and scale model tests, we then engineered a floating barrier that can survive in over 95% of conditions. And if waves get even higher than that, the booms will be coupled on one side to let them move with the waves, keeping them in one piece. It can't be done because booms don't work. So, for this system to work, 2 basic principles still have to be proven. First of all, plastic will need to be captured by these floating barriers, and secondly, the plastic will need to travel along the angle barrier. So we simulated the flow around these booms, which showed us it actually works. But even better, we then built a 40-meter long boom as a proof of concept and deployed it in the Atlantic near the Azores, which confirmed the results. It can't be done because it's impossible to anchor something that deep. While working together with world experts in this field, it actually turns out there's not a lot of difference compared to a mooring system at, for example, 2.5 kilometers away. And because positioning doesn't have to be as precise as with, for example, oil drilling, it turns out we can actually use quite a simple mooring design. It can't be done because it would damage the environment. For this project to be worthwhile, the environmental impact should of course be absolutely negligible. And even though the plastic or the plankton would likely be safely taken away by the current, even if all plankton encountering these barriers would be damaged, the time it would take to restore the biomass is less than 7 seconds in a year. And in terms of fish and mammals, any impact seems unlikely because no nets are used. Entanglement is virtually impossible. And finally, the carbon footprint was calculated to be equal to only several hundred cars, making that negligible as well. It can't be done because the collected plastics would be useless. So we collected about half a ton of plastic from the Hawaiian shoreline for research. And first, we proved ocean plastic can be turned into oil and is just as suitable as normal waste plastic. The details which can of course be read in our feasibility study. But look closer at the report itself, and you can actually see that the book's cover has been made from plastic that has circled the oceans from years to decades. it couldn't be done. But based on all the research, we haven't found a single reason it cannot be done. We can only conclude that it could be done. It's feasible. Thank you. Using a single 100-kilometer array, deployed it for 10 years, almost half the plastic within the North Pacific garbage patch can be removed. And it would cost only about $6 per kilo. That's about 33 times cheaper than conventional methods. This is it. The largest structure ever deployed on the oceans by 2 orders of magnitude. On either side of the platform, there will be over 50 kilometers of floating barrier, and what you can see here is only 2 kilometers, just to give you a sense of scale. And the plastic traveling along these floating barriers will get increasingly more concentrated, and arriving here at the center, it will be so dense you can hardly see the water. And now prepare yourself for quite a radical change, because this is the new platform. And although it might not look as graceful as some of the early concept designs, this no-nonsense structure is stable, cost-effective, and storm-resistant. In terms of the extraction equipment, existing technologies turned out to be suitable. A slurry pump coupled to a centrifuge will be able to extract the smaller particles, while a mesh conveyor like this one will be able to scoop out the larger debris. Moving to the top deck, you can see 162 solar panels, which is sufficient to act as the primary power supplier for the platform. We have now successfully proven the feasibility of this concept, and I would like to thank every single one of you, the engineers, the volunteers, the funders, the sponsors, and the supporters for the help in completing this essential first step. But we are not there yet. Until I can look over the bow of the ship and see the awesome sight of the ocean cleanup array around me, I vow to continue with this project. Now, it's time for the second phase. Through a series of upscaling tests, we'll now work towards a large-scale and fully operational pilot in 3 to 4 years' time. And to do it, we need your help. We need companies to help further develop the concept. We need institutes to help do more research. And we need individuals for their help and for spreading the word. And to help fund this major next step of the project, I can hereby announce the start of a new crowdfunding campaign that is now live on theoceancleanup.com. And I need your help to make the ocean cleanup one of those things that couldn't be done, but then we're done. Thank you very much.
All right, as you see, that kid was in high school when he developed the idea, 18 when he appeared on TED Talks, and at that video was only 19 years old. Yeah. Here we have a short quiz we're going to take to see how much y'all gain from that. Can y'all divide yourselves into 2 groups, please? We're taking paper by only doing 2 tests. You can solve it out by 2 tests. You don't mind. Maybe group 4 and group 3. Okay. That's great. Good people. Y'all 4 are a group, and y'all 3 are a stretched out long distance group. If you'd like to move over here, feel free to. Just circle the answers on there. Some of them are multiple choice, some of them are phone blank.
And there's
An opportunity.
6 times 10 times 50 times 4 plastic and blank. I think it's 6.
So y'all hit that quiz and let me know once y'all kind of have
Over
those.
1,040,500,000 mammals. Never a million seabirds died. Tides, seagulls, or things that we got. Warning to violence, let's do play that. Action clean up our plastic. This one? Jackson, don't cheat. Are you guys trying to copy this? There are
I'm just stop.
yeah. There are. Oh yeah, there's a problem.
We'll go over this afterwards, don't stress too much.
You did it, Gerry. Now you're right the first time.
The problems with using the traditional idea of collecting the ocean plastic is that it removes bypass. It's not great.
It kills everyone.
Why move through the oceans if the oceans remain the bad damage? I'm guessing. Yeah. That's good. It's like good news. Enable the platform to extract responses.
I got you.
She got that from right there. 5K from over 30 years.
Not everybody, huh? I'm just gonna raise Austin Clark.
It's still gonna be waiting on Monday, how they revise, and get back in the portfolio.
Okay. Social media blew up.
Oh, it's-
Was that, you just, like, you talked on the PowerPoint, right?
Social media.
Most classes
Oh, yeah, it's about plastic. Everyone uses bags or whatever, but it had a lot of debate focused on the thin part of it, the hour long or whatever. It's cool. Anyway, I teach about that and use, in my photos class, environmental, programs. I talk about plastics and that stuff, so shoot me that, man, because I might be able to teach you something you get. At least I can call it up, it's not that, it's with my
I appreciate it. I'll also give you a. Huh? I'll see that as part two. You all coming along well? Steve, you all done? Is this group coming along well?
We have one less person, so we're gonna need a little bit more time.
Okay.
One more problem.
Yeah, nice. All right, we'll call that. Okay.
Oh, yes.
I'm gonna go over the answers. For number one, there are 6 times more plastic than plankton in the ocean. For number two, there are over 100,000 mammals and a million seabirds die each year because of plastic. Entire species are being threatened by plastic in the ocean. That is true. 4, false. 5, there are 5 gyres. 6 is B, it removes bycatch along with the plastic and emissions from ships and pollutants. 7, back in high school, a boy in slide questioned the traditional belief and instead asked, why move through the ocean if the oceans can move through you? 8, his method used an array of floating barriers. 9, his successful method has the bycatch flowing underneath the barriers. 10 is A, social media. 11, crowdfunding. And crowdfunding is when you get numerous different individuals to all donate money, accumulating into $2 million that he's raised as of now. 12, most plastics can be found on the top 3 meters of the ocean. 13, 33 times cheaper. 14, solar panels. And 15, institutes and universities to fund research and individuals. Thank you very much. Now, if hopefully I have persuaded y'all against plastic, and if so, could you please sign a pledge saying that to your life? What are we doing? Well, if you'd like to, signing a pledge, agree. By signing my name, I pledge to be more conscious of my plastic consumption through methods such as recycling, using plastic alternatives, and purchasing products with reduced or no plastic packaging. If you all like to sign this, please do.
I would like to.
Good. What?
Hey, what's that? Jason, hurry up.
What's that? Oh, no, mine's on the page. That's my cousin. I believe it. The rest of y'all could start filling out the audience verification forms. No pressure. Our friendships all balance on this. Y'all can fill those out.
Your own senior
Leave those blank, please. Leave the top blank, just go ahead and apart.
I know, present you? Gerald, right?
Yeah. And then write your name. Is there a- Write all comment too as well.
Do you have to fill the top then?
No, I'll put the top out.
Should I put my name at the top?
Yeah, might as well. So we know who written the form. Thank you. Thanks, Sam. You're welcome. Saw that. Thank you, Carson. Yo. Okay. Thank you. Pardon? Where? I didn't? False.
Gerald?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Nash?
Alright, fine, fine.
I think we did this something.
Thank you.
I'll probably give you the demonstration for this.
No, you didn't. Here,
About what?
I didn't read it.
Alright, thank you very much for coming.
Recycle.
Presentation. You guys got more information? All that more information, lots of pamphlets off your take.
Oh, yeah, I'll take
Yeah.
it. Oh, you did great, you guys. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Jump on top. You know, you want to get it.
And remember, don't use plastic.
We use plastic?